Hi, I'm Sheena, and you're listening to The Right Stuff. Today, I'm joined by the fabulous author Anne Hagen and the fabulous Erin Hodges. Erin, what am I titling you as these days? You're a woman of many talents.
I don't know about that, but just a person, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a specific title.
Sheena, I met Erin as a virtual assistant, an author's virtual assistant, and she is awesome at that. And that's the reason that I reached out to her first to pull her into this new venture of mine, My Lesfic.
Yeah, so that.
Erin's got the VA thing going, but she's also a bit of an entrepreneur. So I'm sure that when you saw this opportunity, Erin, you took it with both hands because this was a fabulous opportunity. But before we get into that, let's take 2 steps backwards and talk about what we're talking about in this podcast today is Anne and Erin are taking over My Lesfic from Harper and Caroline. And you guys are doing some really cool stuff with it. Anne, how did this opportunity end up in your lap?
Well, it was one of those deals where, you know, when opportunity knocks, you answer the door. I actually had submitted my book, Steel City Confidential, for an ad in My Lesfic. And they didn't have space for me at the time that I wanted it in July. But Caroline came back to me and said, we should be able to run it very beginning of August. Would that be okay? I said, that would be fine. Well, when she emailed me late in July and said, okay, we're going to be able to run your book. And oh, by the way, it's going to be our last newsletter. She said, we just can't do it anymore. We just don't have the time to continue with it. And I kind of thought about that as a huge loss to the women fiction-loving community, and I went back to her and I said, would you and Harper consider letting me take it over? And she said, well, we hadn't really thought about that. She said, let me talk to Harper. Well, she went and talked to Harper, I went and talked to Erin. Because I knew that to take this over would require quite a bit of time and not something that I by myself could do. But I knew that a lot of the things that have to be done with it were right up Erin's alley. And so, you know, I contacted Erin and she jumped in with both feet. And I don't know what her thought process was there and all of that, but when Caroline came back to me and said, Harper's okay with this idea, how do you propose we do it? I said, well, first of all, I need to let you know that it's not just going to be me, it's going to be me and Erin. Well, they know Erin. And they were thrilled with that idea. And so they took off and ran with it. And a month later, here we are. You know, we're a few weeks into our first newsletters, and it's rolling along.
So, Erin, from your side, what happened?
Anne contacted me and sucked me in, and and it was a no-brainer really because it's such a good service, and I'd never really thought about how good the service is from the author's perspective, only from the reader's perspective, and so when Anne pointed out the benefits to the authors as well, it was an absolute no-brainer to take it on because the women-loving women fiction or lesbian fiction or whatever you want to term it, the number of authors that struggle to get any traction in their marketing, it's anything that we can do as readers and as supporters to help with that is something we should be doing, I think. And it's an exciting opportunity because there's lots of room to, you know, develop and change and move things around and try different things, and I'm all about that stuff. So yeah, it's going pretty well so far.
If I understand correctly, the My Lesfic model was originally based on the BookBub model. So it's discounted books that go out to a database who has said that they're interested in these types of books, right?
That's correct. The BookBub, for listeners that aren't familiar, is an email newsletter that is massive. And they take their audience and they segment them by types of of books that they like to read. But they lump all LGBT books together in one category. So that newsletter comes out daily, but one day, most days, you'll get a male book. Some days you'll get a lesfic book or a bisexual book that focuses on two women. But, it's not broken down. My Lesfic was the first email newsletter and still one of the predominant ones where it's completely focused on female-female relationships.
In discount books.
To some degree, yes. Harper and Caroline over time started to do feature new releases as well. This is an advertising vehicle to get mostly discount books out there to the readers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely a space for it. So I take it you guys have taken over and there's a set database, and your goal, I imagine, would be now to grow that database even bigger.
That's correct. And we're already working on that. We've grown it some just since we took it over, just by being active on social media. When they started, they were very active. But over time, as Harper got more prolific and Caroline had to do more and more to promote Harper's business of being an author, they kind of stepped back from really promoting My Lesfic. Just Aaron and I getting out there and talking about it and that sort of thing has helped. We've added 80 plus people in a couple weeks to the newsletter already. We've started to be more present on Facebook. They didn't even have a Twitter account. We started that, and we've gotten into some other things too. I started a Pinterest for it. Aaron is pushing me hard to get into Instagram. And I'm doing Instagram right now for me, not for My Lesfic, but that'll naturally evolve out of that. There's a lot of things that we can do to start to promote it that don't cost us anything but our time. And that's something that unfortunately they were in short supply of. They just didn't have a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you take over a business like this, right, you must have spotted some gaps apart from the time thing, and you've already mentioned the social media aspect of it, but you must have spotted some other gaps in the business that went, actually, this will pair nicely if we also do this. So what cool upcoming features can we expect from you guys?
Well, Aaron's better at talking about the gaps that we saw, as far as all the behind the scenes stuff and all of that, but yes, her and I have been pushing ideas back and forth, and I'll let her address it a little bit, but audiobooks is one, theme weeks, like we're doing. By the time this airs, we will have already done a Halloween themed week and that sort of thing. But I'll let Aaron dive in a little bit more to some of the things that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's intentional gaps in the process and in the way that things were being done, but the feedback that we've sought from the community and the feedback that we've had is that there's a lot of people, for example, in the Australia and New Zealand markets that get frustrated because the deals don't necessarily apply to them. And so, one of the benefits of using email marketing platforms is that you can segment your list into any number of different spaces and groups. And we'll probably look at some point to segment the groups that fall outside of the .com region, and perhaps give them their own newsletters, or, give them a newsletter that's specific to the deals in their space rather than the deals that are just, it's kind of like throwing them a bone and saying, guess what? Like, there's all these deals on, but you can't have any of them. We don't want to do that. We want them to feel like there's value in it. Otherwise, they're not going to open it. And then everybody misses out, not just the reader, but the author as well. So that's probably one of the areas that we're going to look at quite closely, is just doing some work around making sure that it has the highest possible value for everyone concerned. beyond that, we've talked about audiobooks, like Anne said, and we've done a little bit of tweaking around the new release thing. We've talked about sponsorship opportunities and things like that, and just kind of trying to grow our audience and grow our space, but also really use it as a vehicle to promote the LesFic space as well, and see what we can do there to try and, you know, broaden the audience there and really add value. So if anyone's got any ideas, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. I think Erin gets tired of seeing my things pop up on Facebook Messenger. Oh, what's she coming up with now?
Yeah,
I'm constantly throwing stuff at her. One of the things that we really need to do, Harper and Caroline made the list very simple. You could get on the list with just an email address. So most of their audience was not identified by name, and many people's email addresses that they use for something like that are very cryptic or very general, and we can't even identify who all the authors are that are on the list yet. So we eventually want to reach out to everybody and say, hey, if you're an author, identify yourself. That way we can reach out to them separately sometimes and offer them special promotions, special deals, and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but right now we don't have that capability.
Yeah, I'm tagging each author that comes through with an advertisement at the moment. So I'm capturing the ones that are already advertising, but those that have subscribed and haven't advertised since it's changed over will not be on that list. So yeah, it's definitely something that we need to look at and try and work out how we can, do things a little bit more streamlined rather than taking loads of time to try and track people down. And
right now we're reaching out on social media, and that's not ideal to try and track people down, because we just don't have any way of knowing, is this person an author? And I'll give you a good for example. I'm on the list under a personal email address that probably Erin doesn't even know.
Thank you for being an awesome listener and supporting Tilt, the channel that brings you all the podcasts you want to hear. You're listening to Tilt. Find more podcasts on thelesbiantalkshow.com. Okay, so how often are you sending out emails at this point?
It's still a weekly service at this point, plus any specials that we've got. So the Halloween special that will have gone out by the time this comes out is going out separately to the weekly deals for that week. Yeah, it's still a weekly service. It goes out on a Friday at this point. And we tend to see that people either open them quite quickly or open them on a Monday. So, it's over that sort of weekend space that people seem to get in there. Anne knows a whole lot more about that, though. She follows the tracks all the opens and the clicks and then sends me email messages just going, this is what's happening. I'm like, great, I don't need to look. Thank you.
She's the whole back end operation, and I'm the one that analyzes everything. But what we're finding is, because our subscribers are around the world, obviously, no matter what time we send it, there's going to be a lot of people in bed and a lot of people that are already in their Saturday morning. Erin, for example, is in her Saturday when she's sending this out, or she's on her way to bed on her Friday night, and she's sending it for me to go out Friday morning here in the U.S. So, we don't get all of our opens right on Friday. What I tend to do is watch and see how well is it going. And if by Sunday afternoon, the last couple weeks, I don't see the open rate that I would like to see, I will resend it to everybody that didn't open. And that seems to be working pretty well. We get a second bounce of people that either see it again, or they're actually seeing it for the first time. They didn't even see it when they got it on Friday because they were too busy with their weekend plans or what have you. And we're going to start conveying this information to the authors as we tweak it some more and let them know that, hey, it might not be a bad idea to keep your deals available through the weekend or even through Monday and catch all of those additional people that don't open until Sunday evening or Monday sometime.
Right, because it's a limited time deal. So it tends to be like a 24-hour type thing to try and encourage people to do it right now. Buy. But you're right, if it goes out on a Friday and they're only opening on a Monday, then they kind of go, well, this is pointless.
Well, and I had that conversation with Caroline about why they chose Friday, and they did their research. And Friday is a low open day for emails, but it's the highest click day for emails. So people that do open it do tend to click on things because it's an escape from work and that sort of thing. They go out and shop. Unfortunately, it's just not a very high open day. Rather than change the day, maybe we just resend to the people that didn't open and give them another opportunity.
Yeah. The other problem that we've had already, I think, is that it's inconsistent when it goes out for each time zone. And one of the joys of working in an email marketing platform is that you can, like I said, it collects where they've opened it from, so we can set it up to send at, say, 9 a.m. in whatever time zone they're in. And so as long as I have it set up on time by sort of my Thursday, it can go out to everybody on Friday at 9 a.m., for example, in their own time zone. So at the moment, there's a whole pile of people who are receiving this email at times that are inconvenient, like the middle of the night or really late at night or really early in the morning, and it just gets shelved. And so hopefully by doing that and by being more consistent and saying, hey, it's going to come in at 10 o'clock every Friday, hopefully they're like, right, well, I'm going to go and grab my coffee and then I'm going to check it out, and it becomes a little bit more of a routine for them. And that increases the open rates generally a little bit too. So yeah, there's lots of analysis and lots of things to be done and lots of fun stuff for Anne to look at and then tell me what to do. So it's good.
I completely believe that Anne is the one with the stats and stuff. I did a mini podcast with her where she was talking about Amazon AdWords Amazon ad keywords rather for authors. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll add a link to the show notes. It was a fantastic two-part series. So jam-packed full of information, your brain might actually explode. Okay, so let's talk about readers. So why would readers want to come and subscribe to this newsletter? Like, give us the elevator pitch.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, they're getting a weekly email that says these are the books that are in the lesbian fiction genre that are on sale this week.
Yeah, they're not getting the male stuff, and within that, it's not just all romance or not just they don't know what they're going to find until they open it. It could be anything.
Yeah. And at this point, we've had, I think our smallest newsletter was 4 books, but we're hopeful that that we can maintain sort of 5 or 6 a week, maybe more. And if you get an email, I think this week's email had, like this week that's just passed, had a romance, an erotic romance, a thriller, and then another romance or a historical fiction.
It was kind of a mystery romance.
Yeah, like there's lots of different types of books, and there's lots of authors that you wouldn't normally come across, and that's the beauty of it, I think. For me, is that it exposes the audience to a brand new set of authors. It's not just big names that are advertising, it's people that I've never heard of. And that's exciting to be able to say to people, hey, here's an author you've never heard of with a book that you've never seen before, and it's only going to cost you $2.99 this week. Like, that's a no-brainer. You should try that. So that's the exciting thing for me, is that we're able to open the market up to expose these authors who are out there doing the hard yards, writing books, and trying to find their audience. Well, we have that audience captive, so why not use it, right?
What sort of sale prices are you looking at? What's the range?
We ask authors to at least drop the price of a book 50%. We have noticed through using the newsletter that LesFic buyers aren't as fickle as, say, a book club buyer that wants to see something $2.99 and under. Books tend to sell really well at, say, 99 cents and up to $2.99, but authors do very well in the $4.99 range. You know, we still see quite a few sales even in that range because LesFic buyers, by and large, are used to buying from our publishers where a book might be $7.99 or $9.99 for an ebook.
Some of them are pushing over $10 now.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we want to try and do. And with the Halloween edition that we will have done by the time this airs, we had an author from Sapphire and an author from Affinity. Affinity Rainbow Press actually include books in there. So we're starting to get some of the smaller publishers involved and getting them to discount their books. And the eventual goal is to get some of our bigger publishers involved too and get them to offer books at a discount in the newsletter. Even a couple dollars, their buyers would be thrilled. You know, but it's been a great vehicle for indies and the very small presses and some of our medium presses, which you know the mainstream fiction would consider very small presses. But yeah, we're trying to reach out to everybody and say, you know, this is out here. We've already got this mailing list of these people that want these books. You know, come and join us.
Yeah, I think that's why it was so important to Anne when Caroline said that they were thinking about, you know, closing things down. That was what really, well, that was what she approached me with anyway, was just how important it is for those people that are out there doing it without a big publisher behind them, trying to get their book out there and trying to be seen. And, you know, it had been successful for Anne as an author and it was something that she knew others had had success with. So it's an exciting thing to be part of because I think it does really promote the people out there who are writing quality books and just are finding it hard to get the traction in a market where if you're seen, you're seen, and if you're not, you don't exist. So yeah, it's very cool.
People can just buy into it. They don't have to be jump through that many hoops or anything. Like with the review sites, it's difficult for people to get reviewed because we just get so many requests that we just can't do everyone, you know? Mm-hmm. But with you guys, they can literally come and say, all right, I want a slot. So it's like marketing.
Yeah, I mean, there's criteria that are applied. And like I said, we do cap each week. So if we had 10 in one particular week, we would have to turn people away. And we've had a couple of people who have applied and we've said, look, we can't run that. You know, like they've got a full price new release, for example, but we've already got one in the newsletter. And so we've had to say to them, look, I'm sorry, but can you do it next week? And they're usually fine with that. So, you know, it is a matter of applying and seeing what's going on. But at the same time, we do have some criteria and, yeah, you know, we'll apply those. But, you know, I mean, we're people that like to read as well. So we want these authors to do well. And so if there's a way for us to get them in there and to help promote them, then that's what we'll do.
Absolutely. All right. So if people want to find you guys, where do they go?
MyLesFic.com.
Yep.
That's bottom line. Go to MyLesFic.com. The front page is the sign up for the newsletter. You put your email address in and you're in. You know, you'll start getting it on Fridays. And then for authors, there's a tab on the website where they can go and they can find out everything about how to submit to us, what our criteria is, the pricing that they need, and so forth.
Yeah. There's all the social information, the Facebook, the Twitter, all of that sort of stuff is on the website as well. But pretty much if you go to Facebook or Twitter and search for My Lesfic, you'll find Anne behind the scenes doing something. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's all pretty straightforward. Just remember the name of the service and you'll be fine.
Great. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
No. Yeah, just thanks for the opportunity to chat, Sheena, and to put the word out there. It's very cool that what you do is something that you can collaborate with all these people doing these things. So thank you.
Absolutely. You get my thanks and my appreciation every time we do something like this. I really, really appreciate what you do.
Right back at you, Anne. I think we need more of us in the sector. We need more people to be spreading the word and trying to grow the sector, frankly.
Absolutely. Collective action is the way to go.
This has been The Right Stuff. I'm Sheena. You can find more information on thelesbiantalkshow.com or find links to our guests in the show notes. If you enjoy what we do, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/thelesbiantalkshow.